Thank you. Thank you. Now, thank you very much. It was recommended to me that I not take questions from the floor, so I will be taking questions from the floor. Probably time for 2 or 3. I believe there are some individuals with roaming mics, and if people want to indicate by waving their arm vigorously or something to that effect. I'm not used to such a shy audience. Oh, there's I see one hand at the back, at table 48, I believe. Please identify yourself, Howard Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Smitherman. George, terrific speech. I think we're all encouraged by your comments, and we look forward to a great campaign. I wonder if you could share with us your thoughts on how you could make City Council work better, specifically in terms of trying to provide both the balance of accepting new ideas and an openness at City Hall with your goal of, strong leadership.
Well, I believe really that that's what this campaign will come down to. And many people like to pose questions to me in the context of the council that we see now, but I'm really working to try and help shape the attitudes of the council that will be elected in late October of next year. I do believe that those city councillors are also very, very keen to find solutions for many of the issues which I've raised today and which Carol raised in her introduction are not unfamiliar to the council. I think a campaign allows the opportunity to bring new ideas to the fore, to express those clearly as my obligation, and to seek a mandate from the people associated with them is part and parcel of what it takes for a mayor and a council after the next election to be able to move forward with an agenda that brings change and resolution to some of these long-standing problems. Sure, I can't really see that because of the house lights, so if you have...
Hi, my name is Brandon. I just have a question about job creation. You speak to the issues that we have in the city on that matter, which is great. But what can you say about the quality of the jobs that would be created, what your focus would be? I'll refer to Walmart moving into Leslieville as an example. Where do we want high-tech jobs, or are we just going to take anything as they come and go low-level retail?
Well, I think that I said in my speech very, very clearly that the kind of jobs that we need are well-paying jobs that can sustain families, because Toronto is not a low-cost jurisdiction in which to live. So the obligation must be on sectoral strategies which are designed to find opportunity for good-paying jobs. A couple of examples which come to mind. In her opening, Carol spoke about the work that's being done in the financial services sector. In part, I suppose, because our banking sector proved quite resilient in recent times, Toronto is deservingly being acknowledged on a global basis as a place where the financial services sector is quite stable. There are opportunities in that sector for greater employment. Provincial, federal, municipal governments and interested parties need to work together to achieve those. A second example that I would point to relates to green energy. We have the opportunity in our province to see at least 50,000 jobs created associated with the implementation of more renewable energy, and manufacturing is an important piece of that. Toronto has extraordinary opportunities, particularly as a jurisdiction which has so effectively staked itself out on the moral high ground with respect to the work that it does on climate change. Not to mention that the rooftop has now been commoditized. These are examples of a couple of sectors, financial services and green manufacturing, which are quite divergent, I think you would agree, but which offer opportunities for the kind of jobs that can sustain people with the costs of living associated with being here in our city of Toronto.
Mr. Smithman, to your left.
My name is John Dwyer. I run a green renewable fuels energy company here in Ontario, and it's probably a gentle segue into what you just said. There's a 2011 mandate for 2% biodiesel to be integrated with the current petrodiesel market, about a $3 billion liter per annum market. And I just wondered how, if you were to be mayor, you would reach that, you would meet the 2% augmentation by 2011, seeing as under Mayor Miller's reign, they were purchasing all the biodiesel in 2008 from the United States.
Well, I think actually your question is one better posed to those that are, and there are 3 councillors here. I'm sure they'd be happy to talk to you after the session. I'm going to try and be very, very careful in the context of this campaign not to pretend, and I don't want to pretend that I'm there and in a position at the moment to influence this 2011 standard, recognizing that that's when a new council would come to life. But I do think that you're speaking about an issue where both as a jurisdiction, Toronto, which has been so proactive and influenced on the climate change agenda, also obviously a very, very large fleet operator in a variety of different forms of service delivery, from ambulances and police cars to buses and works vehicles and the like. We have the opportunity to be an influencer in terms of the way that we spend our resources. So I know we've met before, and I'd be happy to learn a little bit more about that in a municipal context, but I don't want to pretend. I'm really here looking for the opportunity come around the beginning of 2011 to take up office. So those councillors that are in service now might also be interested to see what they can do in the time between now and then. I think probably time for one last question.
One last question here to your right.
Hi, George. Peter Caldwell from Ontario College of Art and Design. Can you tell us your thoughts on funding for the arts?
Well, I think that, I think that I have the opportunity over the course of a lengthy campaign to articulate policies with respect to the arts. I did mention that I see it very much as a sector where we obviously have substantial employment, and I think accordingly opportunity for substantial additional economic opportunity. But what I would be cautious about is playing off one sector. Obviously, there's a necessity to establish a focus. You cannot pretend that any city administration or any leader can take on 1,000 priorities and do them all well. I think that the arts and culture sector is an extraordinary opportunity here in Toronto. I think you said funding for the arts. Well, I note that the current City Council has indicated that they're running a budgetary shortfall in the run-up to the establishment of a budget for next year in the order of magnitude of $500 million. In this kind of a context, you will find me quite cautious to be offering spending alternatives absent of the capacity to actually pay for them. And but I do look forward very much, especially as we move into the subsequent phases of the campaign, of articulating a policy with respect to the arts and culture sector and how that can be part of the expansion of jobs and economic opportunity for people here in our city. Thank you very much.